Hello and welcome to Herbal History. In this episode we'll cover the history and use of stinging nettle, which are species that belong to the Euryca genus. In this episode we'll cover the history and use of these plants, starting with the Egyptian, Greek and Roman histories, followed by the Dark Ages histories, and then up to the 20th century. Let's get started on the Greek and Roman histories, alongside the Egyptian histories. In ancient Egypt, stinging nettle was used for medicinal purposes for over 2,000 years, possibly even 3,000 years. There are reports in ancient Egypt that refer to the use of stinging nettle to relieve arthritis and other pains. It was also written that a species of stinging nettle was used as a Passover herb. It was also used by Egyptians during ages of 1820 BC to 250 CE. And these species of stinging nettle still occur in Palestine to this day. Stinging nettle was mentioned as a medicinal plant by Theophrastus, the ancient Greek philosopher and the father of botany. In later years, Pliny the Elder listed plant remedies from ancient Greece and recommended them as a means of preventing disease, as well as a highly nutritious food. The tradition of eating nettle as a vegetable continued into the 20th century in Sweden, in rural areas, as well as the rural areas of Britain. Hippocrates later on created 61 remedies for different diseases and poisons that used nettle as an ingredient. But you know the drill, this is a history channel, not a medicine channel. Take it for what it is, historically speaking. These medicines were for worms, prolapsed uteruses, bites of poisonous snake, antidotes for different poisonous plants, a treatment for nosebleeds and lethargy, and a treatment for dog bites, as well as sprains and inflamed tumors. Dioscorus, one of Emperor Nero's main doctors and naturalists, crafted one of the books on herbal medicine back in the day. And Dioscorus often uses plants as a means of treating rheumatism. Galen, a Greek physician from the 2nd century CE, uses plants for dog bites, nosebleeds, gangrenous wounds, and as a laxative. Now on to the Dark Ages. The first book on herbal medicine in the Dark Ages, which would be the 5th to 10th centuries, was written by Oswald Cochrane, of which he said to mix nettles with several other herbs such as beewort and cress in a bath and use that to heal feet that have been broken. He also suggested the use of nettle-based broth as a cure for shingles. This luckily did not work, especially considering that they were also asked to drink mistletoe juice, which is deadly poison. He also developed different types of salve which were used to soothe different parts of your body, both of which involved the use of nettles. Nettle was also used to treat constipation when mixed with wine. It was also used as a means of treating sinus infections as well. The latter mixture was a mixture of 9 herbs, one of which was a tree, and one of which was nettles, and this was used via being spread on the neck. Given you didn't ingest it, it probably didn't work the way you expected it to, and it probably wouldn't have helped either way because it also involved the use of an ox gallbladder, and I don't need to tell you that's a bad idea, especially in the days before refrigeration. Now on to the 12th to 20th century. In the 12th century, Saint Hildward from Bingen, Germany, is reported to have recommended the use of nettle seed for stomachache. Then nothing happened in terms of nettle progress until the 17th century. In the 17th century, T. Johnson wrote of the virtues of nettle. He described them as a cure-all for everything from henbane to venomous snakes and scorpions, as well as the cure for the stinging sensation of nettles themselves. These are virtually identical to what Galen said in the 2nd century CE. Culpeper, later on, who was a doctor, astrologer, and physician, claimed that a mixture of nettle leaves, roots, and honey boiled together produced a medication that's safe and useful for the common cold, as well as dealing with throat infections. He also claimed that it was good for gall and kidney stones, as a deworming liquid, as well as a remedy for gout and joint pain. The doctors Mr. Brock and Mr. Mathalos also recommend the use of nettle leaves as an aphrodisiac, an anti-hemorrhaging agent, and a cure for cancer and kidney disease. Do not use it for this purpose. These guys are from the 1600s. To prove my point, their cure for rheumatism was the consumption of nettles followed by flogging yourself. It was also the treatment for cholera and typhus, so take what these writers say with a grain of salt. In the 18th century, Elizabeth Blackwell used nettles as part of a treatment for internal bleeding, as well as a way of treating nosebleeds, shortness of breath, and as a diuretic, as well as a treatment for scurvy and a deworming liquid, as well as a mild painkiller for joint pain. The 19th century physicians recommended nettles for many conditions, from scurvy to nosebleeds, and larger doses for cancer. It was also used to treat tuberculosis, and dysentery, and hemorrhoids, and bladder and kidney stones. It was mixed with wine to treat fever as well. Nettle extracts were also used for treating infant diarrhea and eczema. Again, we've got better equipment this time around, so we know a little bit more than they do. These treatments are a little over 200 years old, so keep this in mind. Now on to the 20th century. In the 20th century, the nettles were used as a way of restoring the sick in poor rural areas, and as a highly nutritious food. In Scotland, it was used to make a beer. That about covers everything for this video. Thank you for watching.